Hi everyone and welcome to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Luna and I make Animal Crossing videos every single week. So if you're into that, consider subscribing to join our little AC family. Last time we decorated our shopping district, so this week we will be decorating the museum entrance. So without further ado, let's get right into the video. So here is the area that I will be decorating. It is a very large area. I've already marked down where I want the museum to be to make it easier for myself when I'm decorating. I'm planning on creating two rivers on each side, so I need the space. I decided to place my museum behind my Able Sisters shop and my Nook's Cranny just because it will be a lot easier to get to all three on my island versus trying to have my shops on one side and then the museum on the other, which I have done in the past, and it does get annoying going to one side of my island to donate stuff and then having to go to the other side of my island when I want to purchase stuff. So I was like, you know what, I'm just going to put all of them together to make my life easier. Now when it comes to the museum, I think of the museum as this very elegant, fancy place. So I wanted to incorporate the elegant style by adding some statues, and the most elegant Fairycore looking statue that we are all familiar with is the Valiant statue. So I wanted to place two on both sides, so when you're walking through here, you have this nice view of these statues. For almost all of my museums, I like placing a fountain in the front. I just think when I see a house or any place with a fountain in the front, I just feel like you made it in life. So naturally, I wanted to add one here, but then I also wanted this area to be different than how I usually create my museums. So when I was creating the rivers, I thought that I should add some bridges on each side just so that it will be easier for my villagers to get across, because we all know how much I feel bad when a villager gets stuck in a place. So since I'm creating two rivers, I decided to create two bridges on both sides to make it symmetrical. I'm almost done terraforming the rivers so I can show you how the area looks before I place any of the bridges down or the museum. So here's how the two Valiant statues look in front of the entrance, and here's how the front of the museum looks with the two rivers running on each side. Remember in my last video when I said that I wanted to add fossils here, and if I didn't get the fossils that I wasn't going to create the museum? Obviously, since I'm creating the museum, I got the fossils, but I was time traveling a lot to get the fossils, and I was just missing two of the pelvis fossils, and I just didn't feel like time traveling anymore. So I ended up going on Nookazon, and I was waiting to trade with people for like, I want to say 4 hours. I guess my offers weren't good enough because people kept ignoring my offers. I personally think 10 Nook Mile tickets for one pelvis fossil was a good deal, but apparently not to some. But I was able to get it from some lovely sellers. My idea for the fossils were to add like dinosaurs on each side of the museum and then surrounded with trees. Because of the tropical Fairycore island, I thought maybe if I add some dinosaurs, it would give it like a fairy tale type of vibe. But what I underestimated was how big these dinosaurs were. So later on you'll see how I was able to incorporate them in this build, but it took me a while to figure out how I wanted it, because when I tried to place it, you couldn't even see their heads. So then I had to kind of maneuver it so that you were able to see them from afar. So yeah, that was my struggle for this area. The other thing that I love doing was surrounding the fountain with butterflies, and I got that idea from the actual butterfly exhibit in the museum. And I'm so obsessed with that idea that I had to tell myself not to do it again. So what I decided to do was to add the different butterfly models around this area. So next to this area, I wanted to create a cafe because we have the museum, and when we have the museum, the perfect pairing is coffee. But now we have Brewster in the game, so we can get coffee whenever we want. But I thought it would look so cute to have like a cafe next to the museum so that my villagers can hang around, or when you guys come over, you'll have a nice place to take some pictures. So now I'm going to finish up the front of the museum, adding any custom designs to fill up the empty spaces so that I can add the fountain in the middle. And now I'm going to work on the cafe portion. I added a river over here to kind of give me a guide on where I should stop, because knowing me, I won't stop decorating unless I have a line to tell me to stop. But I was thinking of extending this area to maybe a double neighborhood. I'm not sure yet. I have other ideas in mind, but I'm thinking thinking of adding June and Audie here. My original plan was to have them on the beach and then kind of create like a beach cafe, but I realized that I didn't have enough space on the beach. What I don't like about this game is that everyone's beach is different, so it can be narrow or it can be wide, and I just don't have the space for it. So that's why I was thinking of maybe putting them here. And no, I don't have June yet, but I will be getting her soon. I ended up buying some more amiibos because I just couldn't anymore with the villager hunting, and actually one of my villagers asked me to leave, and that was Filbert, and I was highly upset because I was like, why would you want to leave this paradise? Also, in the meantime, until I create my tropical Fairycore design videos, I will list all of the design codes that I use for all of my videos in the description below. So anything you see here that you want to download for yourself and use for your island, check out the description for the codes. I had already planned out what I wanted to create on this side, and I kind of miscalculated the bridge and how close a tree can be next to it. So I messed up the flow of how I wanted everything to be. So you're gonna see me struggling trying to figure out where I should move things around so that it can look like how I wanted it to be. I also didn't want the chairs and tables to be so close to each other because then it makes it harder for you to walk through. So yeah, your girl was struggling with that. Oh, and also I did decorate the area that you see in the bottom, but that will be in a future video. I'm not sure if I'm going to keep it there, so that's why I haven't included it in this video. I'm still experimenting with that area. I was thinking about maybe creating like a secret pathway and maybe turning the area next to the cafe into a star fragment farm or like a stargazing area for Celeste. It was either that or the double villager neighborhood, but I thought maybe I can create the stargazing area for Celeste since the area will be next to the museum, and I thought that that would make more sense to put Celeste here. I really wish that they would have created a room for Celeste in the museum like they did for Brewster. You know what would be an even better idea? If they created the room, but then we have Celeste selling star fragments to you depending on the month that we're in, and if you buy a certain amount from her, she'll give you the DIY for the zodiac sign of the month. I think that would be a great idea, but I also think that it's the end for the Animal Crossing updates. I really hope that they do come out with an update soon because this game is so much fun and relaxing. But anyways, I will include whatever I decide to create in a future video, so keep an eye out for that. So on to the last part of the build, which is on the right side. For this side, I really was struggling on what to put here. I was thinking about creating a villager home over here, not a villager neighborhood, but just like one single villager home with maybe some waterfalls next to it. And I think I might do that in a future video because I do have a lot of space next to the nook's cranny. So I'll play around with that area to see what I will come up with. But I ended up creating little fairy ponds, but instead of using the terraforming app, I ended up using the pond custom design and created some small ponds with it. And I really love the idea. I feel like it really filled up the area while also giving you space to walk through, because if I would have used the waterscaping tool to create the ponds, it would have kind of restricted you from walking around. And I love a cluttered island, but sometimes I even get annoyed trying to walk through something that blocks me. So I was like, no, I'm just going to use the pond design. I also downloaded a butterfly pond design and I thought that I was going to use it, but I feel like I'm not going to use it. I tried to use it here, but the green leaves around the butterfly pond are just too light for the summertime season. It might fit in the springtime, but I'm still debating on which season I'm going to end up saving my dream address to. I did create a poll on my community tab asking you guys which season I should save my dream address to, and a lot of you said the cherry blossom season, and I'm going to time travel to that time to see if I like it. But I do agree with a lot of people when they say that the summertime makes more sense for the tropical theme that I'm going for, but I understand when people say that the cherry blossom season makes more sense for the Fairycore side. So I don't know. I am actually leaning towards the summertime season just because it does make sense and it makes my island feel more tropical since I do have a lot of Fairycore going on. So I'll see what future Luna decides. So here's how the entrance ended up looking. I love the two statues next to each other with the fountain and the two bridges in the back. Everything just flows together so nicely and I'm just obsessed with it. When you come to the bridge and look up, you'll have a nice view of our dinosaur. And here's how our cafe looks. I love it so much. It's so cute and whimsical with all of these star fragments and flowers. And lastly, here's how the little fairy ponds ended up looking. I love it so much. much. This is definitely one of those areas that you should create on your island. Thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video or found it helpful, let me know by hitting the like button. And if you want to see more videos like this, consider subscribing to join our little AC family. I love you all so much. Take care, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.